Trump, he ran for office, he ran for president already before, right? And in his campaign, he drew conclusions. He was like, I did too much of this, not enough of this. And he just adjusted the parameters and added a few Cambridge Analytica Russian
Yeah. So
influencers, and boom, success.
so now with that experience, do you think he'll win?
That's such a tough one, man. That's such a tough one. Laura says no. She's rooting for the Blues.
I actually think he think there's a strong possibility he might win. What I see from so last time I remember that, so now if you see the map, like everything colors red except the key cities color blue, right? So it's really a game of the haves versus the, what is it? The haves versus the not haves
Versus the
have-nots.
have-nots. The have-nots.
The have-nots, right? And it's people that, yeah, it's like the villagers versus the city people, right? And yet there's actually more, like the city people have all the control over media and such, but actually there's so many villagers who are not being taken into account. It's like you can say like this it's a bit rude, but it's a bit like this, right? And so you have everything is red, even like if you look at even California had even like big spaces of red. So now what the biggest issue was that I think blue, team blue, fails to see that red exists. Right, so you control a lot of the media, you control a lot of the establishment, and you fail to see one customer, right? If you look from a business point of view, and honestly, I didn't see them learn. Like they just do the same thing as last time. They haven't learned stuff. Like what have they done to win over the people who are not living in cities?
Well,
They're just not. I don't see. I don't know. I don't know. Like, what is the exact problem spaces those people have outside of the cities? But I feel again like what has been addressed is like black people in cities. But again, what has not been addressed is the problems of people outside of cities.
so I agree with that in general. What I do think is that I find it really weird to hear anyone actually discuss policy issues. This is like, it feels like years since I've actually heard people discuss what are the policy differences between red and blue. Like, because it has all become purely emotional, like shouting matches where no one's really discussing the benefits and merits of various policy things. And I feel like over the past 4 years, it's pretty like I feel like he's probably like the situation for people who are like the poorest people has gotten worse as far as I can tell, and so it's not clear on the basis of what they would vote for him again. And the answer that I think it is from my point of view, where the president is kind of a celebration of what a good, like, it's a character assessment almost. It's like, okay, which kind of personal character are you most attracted to? Which one do you identify with as a person? Do you think this is the better person to be, or this is the better person to be? And that's, to me, the thing that doesn't get into my mind is that if that's really the discussion, how can a whole country vote for someone who is so transparently a bad person as...
I have an idea.
Yeah, tell me.
So if you look at Team Red, Team Blue, Team Blue. So there's much more. So because you're much more in technology, you're much more in in the world that I guess that we know. It is by itself more of a social game, right? Because if you play the very capitalistic side, right, where you have like this enormous gains for for reduced effort. The only way to sustain a society is by having social ideas, right? Part of the money will have to flow to the people that have not, right? So this idea. While I think if you go to more like the outside of the cities, they actually have a feeling, I think, of loss of trust, right? So they had loss of trust in the previous establishment. So loss of trust. And so what you do when the system doesn't work, you will revert inwards, right? And so you become protectionistic, and not only about you as a country, but also as you as an individual. And so if you imagine you are just as an individual, like actually I am, like I'm an expat in Singapore, I actually don't really connect to the country. I mean, so what is important for me is that I have a job and that I can protect me and my family. Right? So I have personal insurance or whatever, right? But for maybe somebody like, if you live outside of a city in America, what is important is that you have a job, so nobody steals your job. That at any time, because you don't trust the police force, you don't trust anything, that you can protect yourself, guns. And when situations become a bit more unstable, just like you could see, for example, during war periods in Europe, then people become more religious because they need to have a faith. Because if you can't believe in the system, you need to believe in something else, right? So these things. So these, I think that's how I assess how it is a bit different. And then how does Donald Trump add oil to that fire is by being even more not nonsensical. Like, so they already have no trust in the system, and maybe he's just the oil who's like, yeah, look, yeah, you cannot trust it because it is so random. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I mean, everybody does whatever. Maybe he's like. You see how fucked up it is, right? Which maybe just triggers even more. And so they vote for the guy who is going to get them there. And maybe they don't even... And of course, I think Trump has a set of policies which supports him, of course, which is, keep foreigners out, so you keep your jobs, have your guns so you can protect yourself, no abortion, religious. So he takes those policies that fit such a worldview.
And for sure, so for people in that
situation, that point, I want to say, from that point, do you care that the guy lies? I mean, maybe it's just irrelevant that the guy is right. It doesn't matter. Like the guy, right? Maybe it doesn't matter.
It's so crazy that because your faith in politics is so low, you continue to vote for the guy who lies because your faith in politics is so low.
Yes. So that's actually interesting because, okay, why wouldn't they vote for, and because I think you may think maybe human beings, they want progression, so maybe they're actually willing to vote for the blue side, honestly, like a Democrat. However, they don't have policies that solve their problems.
You're right. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're in a deadlock. They're in deadlock, so they don't care for the guy, they just go for what gives them their rights to protect themselves.